It is content. It's Saturday night. It's me, solo dolo. Um, I don't even know where I got that from. My wife says it solo dolo. Although solo bolo is something from Comedy Bang Bang, if you're familiar with that. Anyways, I'm not solo for the entirety of the stream. Just for now, our guest Julius is running a little late, and I'll just pop him in when he shows up. And I just thought I'd get started and just say hey to everyone, see what's going on. Tonight we're going to be doing a comic book high five with Julius. Um, uh, if you don't know who Julius Freeman is, he has a on X known as A Lucid Comics Productions company. Not 100% sure about that last part, but he's had a couple campaigns. A couple of them were fulfilled. He has a digital comic that I believe is on not Global Comics. What's the other one? That's super popular. It's formatted for reading on a phone. But anyways, he's got one on there. We're going to be just probably discussing a couple of those tonight. But he also had a stream for a while, which was one of my favorite streams called "Let's Talk About It," where he and his co-host Kyle would they'd have guests on and that sort of thing, but he would they would have some really solid, really deep conversations. And then there was kind of a hiatus for a while, but it looks like he's going to be making a comeback. He streamed again last night for the first time in a while, but he'll be jumping in to talk about the future of his channel, the future of his comics, what he's hoping to accomplish, and to talk his comic book high five. But right now, I'm just going to say hey to Cole King, Radio Stories Now, two of my Twitter online friends and real life friend. um, Brother is what was it last time you were uh, in my chat? Was it bromosexual? But um, yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. But until he shows up, I don't know what to talk about other than just what's happened and what happened to me this week and stuff. Radio Stories Now happens to know about the fact that I rewatched Wuthering Heights. My wife and I went to see this movie in the theaters. She had wanted to see it, and I capitulated and went with her and watched it. I didn't like it, and I got on to Twitter the next day and asked, am I supposed to hate everybody in this movie? Am I supposed to just dislike? And apparently that's the case. I'm supposed to hate everyone in this movie. So knowing that, also, if I'm sounding really I don't know, staticky, like my gain's too high or something, let me. I don't know what I'll do about it, but I listened to last week's stream, parts of it, and my audio was terrible. It's because I'm using this iPad because my stupid laptop's still broken. But anyways, knowing that I'm supposed to hate all the characters in Wuthering Heights, I rewatched it to see if that helped me enjoy it anymore, and it did not. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I did a little, just mild research. The main character of the story, played by Margot Robbie, who's how old is she? She's 40 something, right? The main character is supposed to be at oldest 19 by the end of the movie, by the end of the story, and it's really tough to enjoy um, watching this movie where Margot Robbie's playing an impetuous teenager, like, and it's just not believable. So that's one strike against it. But yeah, all the characters are still just awful characters. Like did not, I, there were many times in the movie I hoped something would happen that would end their lives. I don't know if this is like how I'm supposed to feel, but yeah, it's artistic direction was interesting. The director tried. Yeah, yeah, but the director tried, but it came off very much like dollar store uh, Tim Burton in a way. I gave her props for wanting to try and building like practical sets and stuff, which was good. But and then there was a weird disconnect between in tone where it went from there were scenes where they were dressed like characters from Tom Petty's she don't we don't what's that song called? Don't Come Around Here No More. Is that the one where they're doing the Alice in Wonderland kind of thing? Yeah, the characters are dressed like that, but then it switches and it goes into like some really deep in the gutter um like dark human nature stuff, and the two things just don't mix well in this movie. So that's one thing that happened this week. The other thing that happened this week is I here in uh, Boise, we have a green belt down by the river. Just on a sunny day, it's just a beautiful ride. You just and you know it's right by the river, coffee shops. You go, next to the college. It's a beautiful ride. You can go for quite a while, um, but more and more out of towners, people from California, Texas, are seem to be the two main places, are moving into our fair little city, and not only are they ruining driving because they all drive like idiots, but they also apparently greenbelt like idiots. And I have a thing that I do where I say things out loud that apparently my wife thinks will get me into a fight. But if somebody's standing directly in the middle of the bike path, high traffic, it's marked the same way a city street is. There's yellow marks on the bike path for like there's two lanes, there's passing lanes, there's non-passing areas, there's stop signs. There's it's like a full on it's like traffic, you know? But people just stop and stand in the middle of the green belt. And I say things like, "Hey, don't stand in the middle of the green belt as we're riding by." And apparently like two or three times today people yelled at me. I didn't pay attention to it, but one guy, according to my wife, who was riding behind me, kind of puffed up and shouted at me to come back and say it to his face, which I didn't hear because there was a lot of music going on in that area. I kind of wish I had. I don't know if I would have gotten into a fight, but I wanted to make sure he knew like this is your fault, bro. This is not I'm not the bad guy in this situation. There's bikes, there's walkers, there's joggers, and electric bikes that go like 30 miles an hour, which is also an entire thing. Like just get on the road at that point. You're driving at that point. But yeah, so that was today. I was having the time of my life. I apparently I cause anxiety in my wife. It doesn't help that we stopped at a brunch bar and had a couple of drinks, so we were both feeling a little feisty on the ride back. So yeah, it was fun. It was good. It was a good time. Excuse me. If you are in the chat and you have had a good week. Let me know if anything interesting happened, if you watched anything, read anything. I don't know if I got to show this off last week. Oh, sorry about that. Something fell on my this that yeah. The Man with No Strings. I picked that up. I got it delivered. I think a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. It's been a while, but I haven't got to show that off. I haven't got to read it yet either. Um, but if you saw my post on X today, I was mentioning digital comics. One of the reasons I don't like them is I forget that I have them. And today I was going through some files and stuff, and I found that I have like, I'm gonna say close to eight, 8 or 9 comics that I found that apparently I backed and downloaded and just completely forgot they existed. So um, that's cool. I got new comics to read and catch up on, and hopefully do. I should have gotten that. Do some short reviews. I should have put the short review on here. Um, yeah, like I said, my laptop is busted, and I cannot do anything other than load stuff onto what is this, Restream, and so I can't share my screen, so I can't show my um, review. It kind of sucks. Kind of wouldn't mind doing that, but um, hold up a sec. We got radio stories now saying I'm always afraid I'll delete the digital. Yeah, that's a thing too. I try to get them all collected in one file, obviously named comics, because um, I don't have all that. I'm not that original with file names and stuff, but uh, I also find it interesting that it's difficult sometimes to get them into, look at my hair, get them into that file, depending on what. So if it's like shared to me in Google Drive, or just as a PDF, or through Apple's Drive, whatever theirs is called. All of them have different formats, and so getting them into my drive is like a pain in the butt. Um, I think I've got most of them. I know there's a couple of them that only appear if they load up on the website. But it's crazy. Cole says, I don't do digital books, not my thing. Not really my thing either. But they're, that backing these books can get pricey, and right now, $5 is manageable. $5 a book is manageable. Sometimes I look at a digital comic, and it's 10, 15, even up to $20, and I'm that's cuckoo crazy. But $5, yeah, I could do that. I don't know. What would you think is a range, a solid, decent range for backing a digital comic? Um, you know, $5 to $10, is that? I suppose it depends on how many pages it is, but yeah, I don't know. What's the one I Gumroad? Is that what it's called? I backed a couple books from there from a guy called Fresher Luke, and his comic was like 150 pages, and he was asking for $3. I had to go for that. Um, um, Benny says, I just can't do digital. Yeah, I know it doesn't actually. Today I had a conversation with a guy on X about that. That he said that he read a digital comic, really enjoyed it. I think it was a manga, but he enjoyed it. But then he ended up buying the collected edition, physical, and read it. And he said things were coming out that he never noticed in the digital, and like it was connecting more. And it's super true that those, yeah, that, like Benny saying, the tactile nature, yeah, that, and I mentioned that too. That with there's been studies with kids that tactile learning for the most part is super important in getting your brain to like absorb knowledge and information. And I think that's a big part of reading comics is your that tactile part of it. You're absorbing it better. You're engaged in it more. And yeah, it's also why all our kids these days are getting dumber and dumber, because everything in school is being taught with iPads. and such. 5 to 10 is probably the most I would do unless I really love the creator's work. Yeah, yeah, it's tough because you you don't want to undercut somebody's hard work, but at the same time, I can go to a comic shop and for the price of a comic that we typically would back, I can get like three. If I'm going back issues, more. But yeah, it's tough. It's and I know that that's not why I'm backing the books is to get like cheap comics. It's to support someone to build up their catalog, so to speak, so they can go out and then, in my head, so then they can go out and start selling um, those books that they've worked that I have helped um, finance. Um, then they can take those works and sell them for cheaper at a larger scale, hopefully, if they have the opportunity and the chance to do that. Hold on. The thing that fell earlier and made the squeak is annoying me. I'm going to mute it and reach down. Grab it. There we go. But so yeah, let's see how long it takes for Julius to get here. And if you're wondering, I'm drinking the same thing I did last week, which is rum uh, in a Waterloo, which is a slightly different version of a bubbly or what's the most common version of those? It's the fizzy waters with a little the hint of flavor in them. Fizzy water's not even the proper term. I don't know. When you care about putting something in a bag and board, you care about it at least that much. But when you can just swipe it away, it's forgettable. That is true. Um, if you're watching and let me see, at some point, this guy here, Guzmatron, in real life, he's a real pal. His name is Benny. He's going to be coming into coming back in to the hometown and living and I'm gonna I think we're gonna try to do some sort of streaming together because he's right in this wheelhouse, comics, role playing games, stuff like that, but also uh, he's hilarious. He's like one of the funniest guys, so it'll it'll be helpful for interest, getting people to watch it if we could have someone to come in and actually be entertaining. 3 weeks. Okay, so if you're watching now, in 3 weeks or so, roughly around there, we'll see if we can start doing something. And also, he's going to help me. He's going to introduce me to my first um, role playing game experience. I've never had one, and at some point, we're going to do that because I've always wanted to, but never have. Dr. Mash joining us. What's going on, brother? Um, and part of it's because I grew up in that satanic panic period of time. And I remember, so sticking with comic book themes, I don't know if any of you, hold on one sec, Julius just joined. Let me go ahead and click that on.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, cannot see you.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what happened. I gave permission for the studio to use my camera, and then it showed me for a second, and then it went black.
Hmm. Now maybe
And
do a reset on the website and see if that does something, and come right back and see if that helps.
okay, let me try that. Let me
Yes,
try
sir.
that. Oh, there
Oh,
you
there
go.
you are. There you are.
Hey, here I am.
Hey, Julius. How
It
you
did
doing,
it.
bro?
Good, man. How you doing? Sorry I'm late, man.
Oh, no
Really, I'm
worries.
sorry for that. I didn't think it was going to take as long for me to make it back home before 7:30.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just here boring people. So
Oh, come on, come on.
hold on real quick. Let's see this. I have to go and watch a movie now, but I hope the rest of your stream goes well. All right. Thanks. And thanks for coming
How
in and
dare
letting us
you go
know.
watch a
Yep.
movie and not
Yeah.
watch this show?
Yeah, I know. Movies
Come on,
movies are
man.
there like all the time. This is
Yeah.
one time
This is a
thing.
once in a lifetime. I mean, even though technically it's a replay, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess it's fine.
Hey, nice to meet you, Julius.
Yeah, man. Nice to finally meet you and have a conversation with you. This is interesting. I'm very. It's a very different here. This restream. I'm so used to the StreamYard
Yeah, yeah.
template. That's kind of. I'm kind of like looking around, going, "Wow, what is this? This is kind of nice."
Yeah, I kind of it's cheaper. So
Yes, yes.
that's
I
why
could see that. Yeah, for sure.
there's a few things that it does better as far as I can tell, but
Hmm.
like I only get so many like videos or video clips I can use and that sort of thing. So yeah,
Okay.
but I'm not trying to
So
spend a
it's
lot.
like a trade off, I
Yeah, yeah.
guess. You know.
If I'm not, I'm not making money doing this, so I'm not trying to spend a lot of money doing
Right.
this.
Right. Of
So,
course. Of course.
so if anyone is unfamiliar with you before, as we get started,
Mhm.
what's a little background of Julius Freeman and A Lucid Comics?
Oh, background. Okay. Well.
Co- let's do comic wise first, because I think
Okay.
we'll touch more into your personal stuff when we get to the comics, because that's when we get to your high five.
Yeah. So, background for me, I've been reading comic books since I was 13. That's when I first started reading them actively. I discovered comics at 12 when my cousin brought over an issue of Spawn. And I had no idea what it was. I thought it was a magazine at first when he brought it over. And then that's when he told me, "Oh, it's a comic book." And I was like, "What the hell is a comic book?" And that's when he explained, "Oh, it's just, it's a book where it has art and a story." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." But then, I didn't think anything much of it until a year later when my dad brought me and my siblings to the mall for back to school shopping. That's when we drove by a comic shop and I saw the posters of, Batman, Spider-Man, characters that I recognized from TV, and went, "What's that? What's that place? That looks pretty cool." And so I made a mental note of where it was at, and I got my, chore money that I earned by cleaning the house around and stuff, doing chores. And I took the bus back there, and then yeah, I'll never forget it, man. It was Cosmic Comics. That was the name of the shop. And I remember when I walked to the front door, it was a glass door, and the poster was like this wall size poster of Kingdom Come, the scene where all the heroes are battling after the have you read Kingdom Come?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so remember that when the prison breaks out and all the prisoners get free and then the
Hmm.
heroes join, they have this massive clash. So it was the poster of that, and in the forefront it was Shazam and Superman. I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
amazing. What? Like, and of course, I had no idea. I had no clue. So I walked in, and it was like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. I was just a color, just color everywhere. I was like, wow, and of course, I was 13. I had $40 in my pocket, and back in those days, $40 took you a long way
Oh yeah.
with comic books. And so, yeah, that was it, man. I was hooked. I was hooked from then on, and
Nice.
since then, I didn't want to write. I didn't know to want to write comics, produce comics until I was maybe about 19 after reading V for Vendetta. So from ages 13 to 19, those were the years I spent just buying books and reading them. And I had my favorites: Wolverine, Punisher, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. The typical choices that most kids in that demographic will always pick up. And I had no idea who the artists were. I had no idea who writers were. I just
Yeah.
bought them because of the character. But it wasn't until 18, 19 when I started to finally realize the names of writers, names of
Hmm.
artists, and thinking, oh, there's people who actually work on this stuff and actually make it.
Yeah,
And so,
it's an
well,
interesting thing when like your young mind suddenly clicks with things like, oh,
yeah,
there's humans doing this.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah, and it's natural, because when you're at that age, you don't care. You just
Yeah.
care about the book. You care
Hmm.
about the story. And at least for me, I can't speak for everyone else because I know everyone has their different experiences. But for me, it was like 18, 19 when I started to realize, oh, this guy who wrote it is, I don't know, um, oh, what's the name of one writer that I can't think of? Dennis O'Neil, drawn by Frank Miller, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And so at 19, that's when I discovered. That's when of course, at that age, I was kind of I was getting a little bit. I don't want to say burnt out. Hey, what's up, Oli?
Yeah.
I don't want to say burnt out. It was more like I was looking for something a bit more mature, a bit
Mhm.
more edgy.
Yeah.
I still don't get me wrong. I still read Punisher. I still read Wolverine and what have you. But that's at that point I was looking for something a bit more. I wanted to expand my horizons, I guess, in other
Yeah.
words. And that's when I discovered Vertigo books. When I discovered Image, I discovered Dark Horse comics, that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, there's more stuff in other outside of superhero comics that
Yeah.
people produce. And then I decided to pick up V for Vendetta because I had read Watchmen at that point, and of course Watchmen blew me away, and oh, it's written by this guy named Alan Moore. Okay, I wonder if he has done anything else. And then that's when I discovered he did Swamp Thing and V for Vendetta. So I decided to buy V for Vendetta, and that book really did it. That book was the main cause of me wanting to write comic books because
Uh, well,
it,
let's
it
let's let's not get too deep into those because I got slides.
Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, just
Just
to,
have fun. Yeah.
for the footnote, yeah, V for Vendetta was the culprit that got me that switched that
Yeah.
light bulb on for me of going, oh wait a minute, this is a whole entirely new creation. It's a new character. It's not even like a old character that they revamped. This is actually an original creation, and that alone was like, oh, dude, oh
Yeah.
that's. And then after that, that was it. I wanted to make my own comic books after that.
Now, I had mentioned to the chat earlier that you've had a couple of crowdfunders before and
Mhm.
written a few books, and you got your online Samuel. My mind's gone blank. Your magician character,
Oh,
um,
Samuel Zion.
Zion, and but also that you had your stream going, and I know you talked about this last night, but about your hiatus and stuff like that. But um, what talk about your comics and your stream and kind of that journey and to where you are now. Let's get them caught up to the hiatus and your comics and what's
Yeah.
been going on with you.
Yeah, so last December, or I can't remember if it was October or
and
November.
and before that, let me also just say,
Mhm.
your stream was one of my favorites. Like you and Kyle always had really great conversations.
Yeah, yeah.
Your guests were, it was um like there are different things. There's the people who do like more lighthearted stuff, whatever. Yours were always very comic related, but very you get deep into writing, you get deep
Mhm.
into creation and those
Yeah.
sorts of things. So it was really enjoyable. My only issue, Julius, is that you are directly against the Friday nights show, which is another favorite of mine. So like last night,
Ah.
I had to switch back and forth.
Hey, I get that, man. I get that.
But so yeah, when did you start making comic? Decide to start writing comics and getting the crowdfunding and your stream? How did those all kind of come together?
Yeah, it was a culmination of a few things. So after I had the light bulb moment with V for Vendetta and decided I wanted to make my own comic books, I had no idea how to make comic books. And so it was really just 10 years of trial and error on my part because I had no one, to guide me. I had no one
Yeah.
who, hey, I'll take you under my wing, kid, and show you the ropes. None of that stuff. Every time I tried to reach out to a writer or an artist at a con as to what to do or how to go about making the comic books, I always got the same half-assed answer, which is why like there's like a part of me that respects the industry and it respects people who do it, but at the same
Mhm.
time, there's a little bit of like sour grapes because I always got half-ass answers from them.
Mhm.
You got to work hard, kid. You got to work hard. And eventually got to the point where I was like, well, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean, work hard? Like, what? I don't understand. Why can't you elaborate on
Yeah.
what that means?
Mhm.
Because, I was 20, when you're talking to, like, 30 or 40-year-olds, and the 19, 20-year-old comes up to you, you just kind of, I guess, I don't know, maybe they're gatekeeping. I don't know. But I went, okay, well, if no one's going to tell me what to do, I'm just going to do it myself. Also, I did my own research, and luckily I found a few people. I met a few people over the years at cons, local cons, who actually did help. And one particular panel was probably the best panel I ever attended. It was at a Long Beach Comic Con, and it was the typical, indie comics panel. Like,
Mhm.
we're going to show you how to make comic books. And I've gone at that point. I had gone to a few of them, and it was the same damn thing. Work hard, but never elaboration, never.
Yeah.
But this particular one, and I wish I would have remembered the name of the couple, because it was a married couple who hosted the panel. It was like, finally someone who actually gives good information. They provided so much rich information at that panel. It was only an hour long, but it was the best panel I ever attended, because they talked about money, they talked about budget, they
Mhm.
talked about hiring artists, they talked about the process of penciling, inking, coloring, lettering,
Yeah.
what to do to say, how to save your files, back up your files, what kind of programs to get. I mean, these guys gave a class for
Mhm.
free for an hour. And it was and at the end of it, I was a hugely, like, painfully shy kid back then. But if it was now, like, you just say, for instance, like, I decided to make comic books now,
Mhm.
I would have walked up to me, shook their hands, and say, you guys deserve a lot more accolades, because everyone else that I've spoken to gave me half-ass answers, but you guys
Mhm.
provided a rich, information as to, like, how to go about making comic books, and how to maintain, and how to, like, push yourself.
Yeah.
And so,
Here,
um,
here's a question.
mhm,
Do you think that's because they, in general, within the comic book world, um, especially when you start getting more into the mainstream, the big two or whatever,
right,
it is a very categorized. You got your writers, you got your artists, you
mhm,
got your editor, you got your this, that, the other, and it's all really broken down into just little pieces. And so when you ask, an artist, all he knows is his bit.
right, yeah,
Whereas this couple, they were independent, and they were having to do every part of it. So
right.
is you think that was a big part of it, is that your answers previous
Yeah,
were just like, yeah, just work hard.
probably, but it would have been nice if maybe if the artist I spoke to would have said, I actually just write, I just draw, man. But honestly,
Mhm.
like, if you want to just write, I would recommend you do this.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. It didn't have to give me the full details. Just like, hey, I recommend you maybe talk to an editor, or I recommend you produce your own comic books. And then that would have led to follow up questions like, well,
Yeah.
how do I do
I mean,
that?
they could have even said, "Oh, I could tell you which kind of scripts I prefer."
There you go.
You know.
Something to, like, get the wheels going. But since everything was on my own, meaning I had to learn on my own,
Mhm.
there was a little frustration there for the
Yeah.
first, I would say, 5 years after I decided I wanted to make comic books. And so when I finally got to that couple's panel, it was a very, I was like, oh, finally someone who could give me good information. So once I took that information, then I had the clearest possible, like, idea as to what to do. Okay, I have to save my money. I have to build up a budget, and then I have to find an artist to draw the stories that I want to produce. And that's what I have been doing for the from 25 to maybe 31 or two or so, where I would just paying out of
Mhm.
pocket, saving money, paying out of pocket, finding artists. And I also I learned that I had a good eye for artists that were starting up, and go, okay, this artist is really good. I could probably
Mhm.
work with this artist, and get him to draw some good stuff with the stories I'm writing. And at the same time, of course, I was learning my craft of script writing, and I wasn't very good at it. I a few years ago, I found one of my old scripts that I wrote when I was maybe 22, and it was terrible. It was absolutely. It was horrendous. I was like, oh man, if I were an editor, I would have been like, this kid has no future here. But again, it at the same time, I was happy about it because it showed the growth. It showed that
Mhm.
I had grown. So
Yeah.
that gave me a little bit more of a confidence boost because okay, good, I don't write like this anymore. That's a good thing. And so as that went on, I try to go around the traditional route of, oh, I'm gonna produce, a 10-page preview of a story I'm writing, and I'm gonna submit it to
Yeah.
Image. I'm gonna submit it to Dark Horse. I'm gonna see it. These people are gonna see this and they're gonna think it's the greatest thing they ever read in their lives. And then I submitted about a total of maybe 10 stories. I only got one response once out of those 10 times over the span of like, yeah, 5 or 7 years. And that was from Eric Stevenson from Image Comics.
Mhm.
He was the only one. That was the only time I ever got an email back saying, I like this. It was good, but it's not the right fit at the moment.
Yeah.
And so that even though he said no, the fact that I got a response was like, okay, cool. I'm going down the
Yeah.
right path.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
At least you're aiming in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm in the right direction. And it also again gave me another confidence boost that I'm doing something right. I'm doing it right. And not only that, I've also gotten better. Because as an artist, as a storyteller, and me personally as a person, as a human being, I have my insecurities. I have my
Mhm.
hangups, and I don't. For a long time, I didn't really have a lot of confidence in my work because, again, I didn't have someone looking over my shoulder,
Yeah.
going, "You got to work on this. That you got to work on that." And it was all again just trial and error, just
Yeah.
learning as I went. And hoping that I could get some kind of feedback. So I was very grateful that Eric Stevenson actually emailed me back to personally to tell
Mhm.
me it's good, it's all right, still need a little work, but it's not the right fit
Yeah.
to what we're looking for. Perfect. That means okay, cool, I got something. And then when crowdfunding happened, that was an opportunity to, okay, maybe instead of waiting around for a committee to tell me, yes, we'll publish your book, I could get the funds and
Yeah.
publish it myself. And that was a whole different beast right there. 'Cause it was new. No one really knew what it was yet. Now we
Yeah.
know what it is, but back then it was so new that I got lost in the shuffle because I was too careful and I shouldn't have been too
Yeah.
careful. I should just jumped in and I didn't jump in. And so that's what started that journey with the crowdfunding. And I tried doing that for a few years, and I was okay with it. I get the first Get Up Dragon did well, and then I did Vigilant Fury, and that funded, and then Reset Protocol funded, and then when I relaunched Get Up Dragon, that didn't do well, and that's because there's a lot of factors that, like I mentioned in my last night's stream,
Yeah. Yeah.
there was I just my heart wasn't in it, and I didn't have the time. I didn't have the
Yeah.
time to book myself to enough shows to really promote the project, and when it failed, it really was a reality check for me,
Yeah.
because the one size fits all doesn't apply with indie creators. It's you got to find your niche, you got to find your audience and your readership. And I realized I don't have those. I have an email list, but for all I know, the people who supported me because they like me, not necessarily the story. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's like, okay, and don't get me wrong, that I'm still grateful for the people who supported me.
Yeah.
And so that's when I decided, okay, maybe instead of crowdfunding, I'm still going to crowdfund, but since I have now that the years that I spent out of pocket, I realized, dude, I have a little library of books complete.
Mhm.
So I think it's time for an online store, and I think that was a natural route to
Yeah.
take, and that's where I'm at right now.
Nice. Okay. So we're gonna take a break in your story because at this point you're gonna start talking about your future plans, where you're going to go from here. But I
Ooh,
want to hold on to that
sure, sure.
until we go through your hold on, I got a graphic.
All
Your
right.
comic book high five. I
Ooh,
wish
okay. All right.
I wish I had a sound of like a high five, like
Yeah.
a whoosh.
You're
I'm
right.
gonna work on that.
There,
I'm gonna work on
I'll
that.
do it for you right there.
There you
Bam.
go. A comic book high five. But so
That
comic book.
was my bad. That was a car outside my house.
I
Sorry.
know. For anyone watching, on my stream, I asked my guest to provide um, one of three different things. Five movies of their top pick, because I have not seen a lot of movies, and the chances of me not seeing one of those movies is really high. And so I will watch one of the movies and we'll talk about that. The other one would be music. Talk about five songs that mean something to you, not the cool songs, not the songs
Right.
that you're trying to impress people with, but and how they apply to your life. We do that too. But the third is this comic book high five. What are five comics that have influenced a creator in the way they think about comics, why they wanted to write, draw, or whatever, or even read. What made them, sometimes just the first comic that caught your attention. You had to read more. So we're gonna go through Julius's comic book high five tonight, starting with Miracle Man.
Miracle Man. Yeah.
So
My
I've got
jam.
45 pictures from all the comics. So I'm just gonna kind of roll through. But in your five list, was Miracle Man number one because it's a number one, or was it just did you just kind of pick five? Is it was it
Oh, I know. I picked five.
Yeah, yeah.
Number one for me will always be Viva Vendetta,
Okay, yeah.
always,
So
because that
so
was that was the bigger influence on me
yeah.
than Miracle Man, the other books that I the list that I gave you. But Miracle Man is a close two because it was the first comic book that I ever read that really grounded the superhero genre for me.
Mm,
That made it very, I guess, in the lack of a better term, street level, where it's a now it's everywhere, right?
yeah.
Now, it's a thing, it's mainstream. But back then, it was new. It was never done before, and it was one of those instances where Alan Moore was at the right place at the right time
Hmm.
to write this. It was the '80s. Well, I think it was the early '80s when he was at Warrior magazine, and then when that fell off, then he brought it over and finished it through, I believe it was not Kitchen Sink. It was, what was the name of that publishing company? Eclipse Comics.
Yeah, with the
He
neon
brought over to Eclipse
cover.
Comics and he finished it there. But yeah, this was a mind blowing, like, story about, obviously it's a play on the Shazam family, but he did it science. He did it science based, very science fiction heavy,
Hmm.
and it worked. It just worked for me, and the story is very terrifying as well
Yeah.
because when you really, for those who haven't read it, I recommend you read it. So there's going to be some spoilers here, but the premise is that these characters, Miracle Man, King Miracle Man, and Young Miracle Man, are not just your basic magical superheroes like the Shazam family. These are science fiction heavy characters where an alien crash lands on Earth, the government takes it and reverse engineers the technology, and they create these three beings: Miracle
Hmm.
Man, Young Miracle Man, King Miracle Man. And they use a key word to change from human to this super powered other entity that's separate from them, even though like in the Shazam comics, I guess they're separate too. But Alan Moore made it a bit more mature. He
Hmm.
explored a lot of things here that he was able to do because he was given so much leeway to explore these ideas of, like, well, what does that mean? What does this person? How does this person think? How do they act? Do they think they're better than you? How far will they go? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And what made the story terrifying was the fact that when Miracle Man in this page here, when he finally wakes up from this coma that he was in, he remembers who he is. Um, you know, he gets in the way of Kid Miracle Man, who's now an adult, and you find out that he is not the little kid Billy Bates that Miracle Man here, Michael Moran, thinks that he's an adult. Oh yeah, the little kid Bates is now an adult. He needs the CEO of a corporation. He finds out that no, in fact, Kid Miracle Man remained Billy Bates remained Kid Miracle Man and never went back to his old kid
Hmm.
version and grew up as an adult in his power stage.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what made the story terrifying
Hmm.
because And when they first clash, King Miracle Man beats him up and
Hmm.
pretty much tells him like, I've been King Miracle Man for 20 plus years. I've done this. I've been doing this for longer than you, and I'm way stronger than you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And he actually beats him up. And then of course he tricks him into telling his keyword, which is Miracle Man, and that's he reverts back to the little kid. And that's when Miracle Man, instead of killing them, he sends them off to an orphanage, and the whole time Miracle Man inside Billy Bates's head is trying to get him to say the keyword to come back out, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
That's
very
what.
very dark, very heavy story, extremely influential in the superhero genre. It made the superhero genre interesting to me again. Let's just put
Yeah.
it that way.
I know that
And
it's
I still love superhero stories, you know.
yeah, I know that it's like a lot of people's, in their top comics in some way, and it's been on my list. I have it saved on a couple different digital things. If
Ah,
who Hoopla is a library app that's great.
okay.
If you want to read a
Hoopla. Hmm.
comic, and your local library is connected with Hoopla, all you need is your library card, and you get, I think, 5 picks a month. Um,
Oh,
I
okay,
use I
nice.
use all of them on comics, but you can get books and stuff too. Um, but yeah, I've been wanting to read that, but looking through it, yeah, it looks really cool, looks really interesting. But
It's great, man. Gary Leach was the artist for the I think the first few issues,
mhm,
and then I think after Gary Leach, I believe there's a few other artists that took over, like maybe for one or two issues, and then I think finally, I think Rick Veitch took over a
mhm,
few issues as well, and then after that, John Totalbin took it
mhm,
over. And that storyline,
mhm,
Mount Olympus storyline was wild. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil that part because I haven't read it, so I would like you to read it because it
yeah,
that really was like um what made it very influential for me was how Alan Moore wrote such a great what I call personally a rematch story. So in the first story here, when Kim Miracle Man reveals that he's actually Kim Miracle Man, he's always been Kim Miracle Man, not Billy Bats
mhm,
or Bates. I mean, um, when he reverts back to Billy Bats, and then Miracle Man sends him to the orphanage, he Miracle Man goes off on his adventure. He
mhm,
deals with Doctor Gorganza, I think his name is. So while that's going on, Alan Moore goes, he kind of gives us glimpses of what's going on to poor Billy Bats in this orphanage, and he's being mistreated. He's not, liked.
mhm.
He's being bullied by the other kids. And meanwhile, Kim Miracle Man is telling him, come on, say the word, and I can beat these bullies up for you. Come on, the whole time. And the whole time you're like, oh my God, please, Billy, don't do it. And then, of course, it goes back to the main story, which is Miracle Man. And then you find out that Miracle Man's power is actually part of an alien government conspiracy cover up. And then you find out that there's actually a woman miracle, a miracle woman, and then you find out what she's all about. And then it's just it's like an onion.
Mhm.
It gives the layer just keeps coming out. And Alan Moore was so good at that. He was
Yeah.
so good at starting the story with like a very basic, simple premise, and then as the story progresses, you start to peel the layers back of this onion, and you realize this is vast
Yeah.
thread of like, whoa, all this backstory, rich backstory that you had no clue was gonna that he was gonna come about.
Mhm.
And then when you read the first two issues, it's very simple. It's like a superhero comic book,
Yeah.
But then when you get to the end, it's vastly different. So it goes from like here to like way over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Alan Moore was such a great writer. He made it work.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
worked. It wasn't too, how some stories you're like, oh, that's way too crazy. Like that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, he made it work all the way through until the very end. And that's why it was so influential to me.
Got some comments real quick. Roadhouse. Okay, so that's probably in reference to movies,
The
because
movie, yeah, the Patrick
um,
Swayze movie, that's
yeah,
classic.
because so you weren't here earlier, but this is a real life friend, and
Oh, okay.
he bought me the Roadhouse on Blu-ray
Oh, nice,
because
nice.
I've never seen it, and he keeps bugging me to watch it, and I would like to, but like it's kind of like reading comics. Like if I can get the time, I will. But like, man, like I said, like
Crenshaw,
you were talking about last night, time.
yeah, yeah. Crenshaw, you should watch it tonight. You won't regret it. It's one of my favorites. It's it's a little cheese. It's a little
Hmm.
cheesy for because it was a product of its time. However, it freaking works, man. It works, dude. And when you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. It just works. I don't know
So
what made it work, but it works.
yeah, here's a new problem I've come up with though is now it's almost like I shouldn't watch some movies until somebody tells me to for the stream for so I
Ah,
have
okay,
content,
right.
like.
Yeah. I hear
But
you,
yeah, so anyways, we also got Gnarly Manga saying, "Hail Crunch Julius in the freaking chat. How you doing, Michael? Um,
gnarly.
Benny has got a roll. Thanks, homie. And Vulcan has showed up. Okay.
Hello, Vulcan.
So yeah, we got. I think we got moving on to the next. Let me see. Next book.
So yeah, to end it with a high note for
Hmm.
Miracle Man. That was the book that really solidified what a true high concept idea functions and how it
Hmm.
works. And if you execute it well, like pretty much hit all your points, it can be a very memorable story. And Miracle Man is truly a memorable story. And I recommend all readers who are new, before you do anything else, read Miracle Man because that is like the for me the highest standard possible when it comes to superhero genres. And of course, that doesn't mean that every superhero should be, every superhero comic book should be dark.
Hmm.
It's just that it's okay to play around with the tropes when especially when you're revamping something like Miracle Man.
Yeah. All right. All right. Number two. Well, at least on in the uh, list as it came to me, V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta, man, number one on my list. Now, the first thing that popped to me was this cover right here that you showed. So I'm happy that
Hmm.
you saved this cover because I remember when I first saw this cover, it was the first time in my young life. I was maybe 21 or 20. Yeah, no, I was 19. I was 19 when I saw this cover and I went, wow, this cover has a lot going on. Even though nothing's happening,
Hmm.
nothing's happening in this cover, but there's still a lot going on. And it's full of intrigue because in the foreground you have the wig, then in the middle ground you have the mask, and then some other stuff on the table there, the lights, and then this mysterious shadow figure in the reflection of the mirror walking away.
Hmm.
And I remember when I first saw this, I went, "What is this? I don't know what this is, but I want to know more about it." Just simply because of this cover, and of course, you see the at the top there, the hat,
Hmm.
and also the deep, like just the deep focus detail of this cover, which is what in my personal opinion, every cover should have something like this. Every cover should look like this, and
Yeah.
not
I mean,
exactly like this, but
yeah.
this pertains to the story. But you know what I mean. Like it's gotta tell you a story without telling you the story.
Yeah. And this also stands out. When it came out, it was an age of super. I mean, still is. You walk to the comic, you
Mhm.
go to
Yeah.
your local comic book shop, and it's superheroes, superheroes. You see something that is not somebody punching or
Right.
foreshortened coming
Right.
at you, whatever. And it whether um it catches your eye, like for you it was intrigue, but even if it's like a boring cover, it's still going to catch your eye in a way that the rest
Yes.
of them won't. And so yeah, I could see that really standing out to you. It's
Yeah, because the questions that I asked myself when I saw this cover was, What's the deal with the wig? What's the deal with the mask? And who the hell is that shadow figure in the reflection of the mirror?
Mhm.
It made me want to pick up the book. Now,
No.
for disclosure, when I first read the book, I hated it
Okay.
because it was boring to me. For me, it was overwritten because I was accustomed to the American style,
Mhm.
comic book writing style, which is fast and short, and it's reliant heavily on the art instead of the
Mhm.
dialogue. So I regretted buying it when I first bought it, and that night I had insomnia. I couldn't sleep,
Hmm.
and so I tried watching TV. Nothing was working. And I went, oh, maybe if I read this book, it'll bore me to sleep. so I so I grabbed it and I started reading it, and man, once my ADD riddled American mindset that was conditioned to just read American superhero comics.
Mhm.
Once I fought through that and I started actually reading through it, yeah, I would say after the first chapter, I was hooked. I was just immediately hooked after that
Hmm.
because Alan Moore did a great job starting out the story strong, which is this young girl putting on makeup, and then at the same time, while that's going on, there's a radio, message happening. You're reading that, and then it's intercutting to V putting on his mask on, getting ready, and now you're wondering, okay, what's going on? And this poor girl goes out to sell herself, and in this world, this dystopian British world, that's illegal to do that. So these officers were going to have their way with her, and then this guy shows up, kills them, saves the girl, and then blows up the parliament. And you're like, whoa, whoa, what's going on here? And then that was it. I was hooked after that.
Yeah. So I, you know, uh, my connection to this, V for Vendetta is started with the movie,
Mm.
and which I enjoyed for the most part. But looking through this comic, to get some frames and stuff, the art is so underplayed compared to
Yes.
the movie. The movie is
Yeah.
Matrix,
Yeah.
action
Absolutely.
and,
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And I started flipping through the pages on this book, and like um panel work, there's no breaking of panels, there's no,
Right.
it's very basic. For the most part, you have, what is this, 6 to 8, 9,
Yeah.
sometimes higher
Uh huh.
panels, all just squares, just simple, and not a lot of super big action, but
Mm.
um, color wise, and personally, uh, my art preference for comics leans more into this style of, I
Oh.
guess
Okay.
realism, if you want to call it
Right.
that. But so yeah, it really actually really caught my attention, and the colors and stuff are fantastic. But
Oh yeah, dude. Superb.
um and so yeah, I this is another one that's now like definitely on my list, to eventually get to. But
As it should be.
the oh, what was
Oh
the
yeah, I mean, come on, look at that cover, dude. I mean, if you were a new reader and you came to the shop and you saw that cover, I
oh,
mean, at least for
yeah.
me, I
Well,
can't speak for anyone else, but for me, it's just like it's almost like a perfect cover in a lot of ways.
yeah, and, that was actually my what was leading to question, that was, so when you discovered V for Vendetta, I'm assuming you were already kind of in your superhero stage. You were already, um, at what was this like the point at which things maybe switched for you, where you walked in and you didn't see the Liefeld and go, "Whoa, that's awesome," and instead you were like, where's the art in writing, and the human emotion in the actual drawings and stuff, as opposed to just gritted teeth, clenched
Right,
fists, and
right.
coming at you.
I still love that.
Yeah.
I didn't completely dismiss it. I still and to this day I still love that.
Hmm.
because it's part of it's I'm American. I love my American comic books. So I still love it. It's just that this was different.
Hmm.
This felt, I guess you can say, a bit more personal. Personal meaning creatively.
Yeah.
And then nothing. That's not saying that like for instance, Rob Liefeld's art is not personal. Of course, it's personal, but he was selling to a particular group of audience, like a particular audience that's looking for that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Alan Moore and David Lloyd wanted to write something substantial, like something of substance, something that meant something to them, and
Hmm.
that's always heavier, for readers and human beings, because you could identify with someone like, oh, that's one of my favorite covers, man. It's one of my favorite chapters too. You can identify with someone who's imprisoned and wants to be free.
Yeah.
And for the record, this is a very pro anarchist book. So V is a character who's all about anarchy. He
Yeah.
wants the world to be anarchy, and it's pretty much a propaganda piece for anarchy too. However, saying that, what made this work for me is that Alan Moore didn't sacrifice the story to propagandize you with his pro anarchy stance
Yeah.
at the time. He still provided a fantastic, heavy, multi-layered story that made you care for the characters that he wanted you to care about,
Mhm.
and even some of the bad guys you end up caring for, because he made them he made them he was very I guess what's the word I'm looking for, well-rounded characters.
Yeah. They
So
were.
even the bad guys had the things that you could connect with.
There was some sort of depth that made them
Yes.
not just cartoon characters, but
Hmm.
they were people, just like
It made you feel like you were reading a biography about real people.
yeah.
Because human beings are complex by nature, right? We're not perfect. We're not one or the other. We have our issues and insecurities and what have you. And yeah, Alan Moore, again, a master of that. And I think that's what's missing in most of modern comic books for me is the connection, is the human connection. And V
Yeah.
for Vendetta had a deep human connection to it for me, anyway.
Hmm.
And like you said, it was very different for me to read something that in American style at the time, was the characters being drawn outside the panels, these big huge panels,
Hmm.
page splash pages and what have you. So again, this was a different, like, it was hard for me to get used to, but once I got used to it and realized that
Yeah.
David Lloyd actually did a fantastic job being able to
So
fit a lot of deep
yeah.
focus shots in these little small panels, was impressive.
So one of the things, when I was going through these pages is, I'm looking for, I am looking for splash pages and stuff like that, just to show on screen, right? Like
Right.
interesting stuff to catch your eye. Um, there's these are the only like double page spreads,
Yeah.
which is like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of these where it's just musical notes,
Yeah.
and but and it sticks to very simple panels. But as I started looking through it, like this next page, I started to see like, oh, these are like there's no lines on that sleeve in that first panel, on that Tupper, so
Right.
how Frank Miller in Sin City is just using shadow
Right. Right.
to he does that in this book a lot, and it's just beautiful. He does such a great job of that. Also, this is just a funny thing, again, the movie made it seem so badass, right? They show the
Yeah.
knives flying slow motion through the
Right.
air
Yeah.
and all this stuff, and then you look at the comic and the guy's just wearing knickerbockers.
Yeah. Right. Right. Oh, dude, to people who like V for Vendetta, great, good for you. I hate that movie. It was one of those things where I was like, they did not need to make this movie. And
Yeah.
if they did, if they insisted, make it into a TV show. It'd probably be a better TV show than a
Yeah, it would
movie.
probably could like work for a HBO series or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes. Or even the BBC or
Yeah,
Sky, whatever,
yeah,
it
and
it, it would have worked in that format.
yeah,
But I mean, like, look at this page here, the chapter 7 visitors. I mean, still very effective page,
yeah.
even though it's
I
very simple.
got those two to kind of show a difference. So the first page is a nightclub scene, and the colors are
Yeah.
all for that, and then a lot, you see a lot of dialogue and stuff going on, and then the next part is it's quiet. There's no dialogue. Even the top panel is so sparse. It's just two
Yeah.
people running, like just beautiful work, just so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes simplicity is all you need to tell a story. Again, another fantastic cover.
Mm,
You know, the hair, the blade, the shaving cream, and the shadow on the wall. Yeah, fantastic work. So V for Vendetta was the story for me that got me to realize, wow, these two guys, these two young at the time, these two young guys who just wanted to write comic books, make comic books, came together, and I had this idea. Are you interested? And I'm sure the artist is like, yeah, this sounds great.
yeah.
And they got it made, dude. They created something original
Hmm.
that that made you care about these characters that no one at the time when it was released knew who they were,
Hmm.
and they still made you care for you. Now B is a a major staple in comics today
Yeah.
because of how powerful the story was. Yeah, so again, that was for me number one, will always be number one on my list.
Nice. All right. So then we're moving on to your next one, Human Target. This one
Even Target.
I actually started reading. I tried to
Oh, cool.
when a guest gives me their movies, music, or whatever. I try to get as much of it as I can. So like the music, I will listen to the comics. If I haven't read them, I will try to read at least one of them.
Right.
And Human Target's what the one I went with for your picks.
Yeah,
And
because it's short, 4 issues, so it's not
yeah,
that
yeah,
long.
yeah. So yeah, it was pretty good. How does this one fit into your creative?
So this one was the marriage of flashy and grounded for me. So Edvin Bjokovic had a lot of the American stylized, the panels that pop out where the
Hmm.
characters are drawn outside the border panels, like this 6 page panel grid here, with the hand
Yeah.
flicking the lighter in the foreground, um, separated by the word balloons. I mean, uh, that's very British Alan Moore approach,
Hmm.
but Edvin Belkovic Americanized it by adding the pop out
Hmm.
imagery, and the story itself I connected with a lot because it was I hate to say it, but it looked very familiar to me.
Hmm.
The ghetto, the thugs in the church, the danger behind all that of a priest talking about talking against gang violence and all that stuff,
Hmm.
and also the story of a guy who is a professional chameleon, a human target, someone who's I'll take your spot and protect you and be you, act
Yeah.
like you, talk like you, and that that blew me away, and also this was the first example for me of a writer. Peter Milligan is a good writer. I
Hmm.
like some of his work, but nothing compared to this one. And the only reason why this stands out is because of Evan Bjelkovic's artwork.
Yeah. It's
Without Evan
fantastic.
Bjelkovic's artwork, this story would not have worked at all.
Hmm.
And part of what makes a great comic book great is the artist who is able to relay facial expressions, body language, camera angles, moments before the action. Like for instance, that last panel on that second page, you see the woman's leg is there.
Hmm.
Because before that, they had a little gunfight and then she escaped, and then these two characters are having their little back and forth dialogue, and then she comes right back. And it's like wow, and again, that's I'm sure that was Evan Bjelkovic's creative choice to do that, and it works. The whole
Yeah.
series worked for me.
Yeah.
And
It's
go
I
ahead, go ahead.
I one of my I don't know, like a litmus test, I guess, for a comic artist. And like we were mentioning earlier, there's always the the big bombastic, superhero
Right.
comic, things. Your Jim Lee's, your McFarlane stuff. There's always a joy in that. But um that's a specific genre. That's a specific target. That's a specific talent even. And I think that
Yeah.
another talent is like you were saying, that subtle human emotion. And if I'm looking through an artist, a comic, and I see an artist can handle something as simple as a, the way someone's sitting, the way their legs are crossed, and it looks
Right.
natural, it
Right.
looks real. One of my favorite, actually, it's I got a tattoo of it. Paul Pope, who
Okay.
did THB and Batman 100 and
Yeah.
other things. One of my earliest, like a book that caught my attention because the cover was unlike any other, was one of his books. It was a giant THB special. It was giant. It was a gigantic book. But it was a girl. HR Watson is the character's name, and it was her, and she had her arm above her head like this, and just a little patch of armpit hair, and
Yeah.
but and then his coloring was fantastic. But within the book itself was two little girls watching a show. It's kind of a spy versus spy. It's called Mega Gangsters, and they're watching the show, and there's this one panel where they have the laziest, like dead-eyed, I'm watching TV and my brain shut off look on their face. And it says, I like Mega Gangsters because of the explosions. And then the little sister says, yeah, explosions. And it's the first time really that I realized, oh, holy crap. Like it's not all punching.
Right. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's these, you can draw these simple tiny moments and people see it and go, I've been there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I got a tattoo of that panel right on my
Nice.
side.
Nice, dude. Very
But yeah,
nice.
so that's like, to me, it's if an artist can handle that, they've moved from something more
Yeah.
than just, like I said, just punches. This is, magic now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for another example is that second page there.
Hmm.
When you look at the cross,
Yeah,
the
great
way he,
page.
I want to make a note of the sequential talent that Evian Bjelkovic had,
Hmm.
because when you look at this page, obviously it's a cross,
Yeah.
right? That we're seeing. This is a man conflicted because he a secret of his has been exposed that he thought he hid well, but it came out, and now it's gonna come out. His wife's gonna find out, and he's, that first panel on top, he's reading the letter, right? Then the second panel to the left is his right arm. His glasses are taken off because now it's become serious. So even that panel there tells you everything you need to know without him having to show this, draw that. He just cuts to right there. And then that third panel, which is the middle of that splash page of him looking up I mean, it's the reader, but in reality, he's looking up at God because he
Hmm.
realizes that, okay, it's over for me. And then he crunches the paper with his left hand after.
Hmm.
And again, the reason why this was such a influential story, a book for me, was because mainly, of course, the artwork is what obviously did it for me, but it's Evian Bjelkovic's sequentials
Yeah, the storytelling in the
that
art.
that did it for me. Yeah, yeah, and
The
that's what was the influential part for me, was the fact that you could tell he probably was influenced by Kirby, probably possibly I would imagine John Romita Sr., and other great artists. And after this, unfortunately he passed away from cancer. I mean, yeah, look at that, man. Come on. Like it's like the guy's on the phone, shooting up the house, and
Mhm.
images like that is what separates comic books from everything, from all the other mediums.
Yeah,
And
it's
Evian Bjelkovic just had everything on point when he was, this was his A game here.
yeah.
This is the book he drew before he passed away. So
And
you
this
can only
is,
imagine what he would have done after this.
yeah, no doubt. But yeah, you're saying, excuse me, the comics can do that thing that no other medium can do. And the way I put it is they pause at the best part,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. And
Um,
Evan Bjelkovic was the master of that. And in art, this is why it's important when writers, when they hire artists, you have to make sure that the artist
what the
naturally,
heck? Yeah, I don't know what
that
happened
the
there.
artist naturally can pick the right moments, like you just said, the right moments to pause, because that's what stands out for the reader.
There he goes. Yeah, now we're gone. What did I do?
Uh oh.
I'm gonna switch and then switch back, see if it does anything. No, we're
Uh
still.
oh.
Well, there we go.
Oh, there you
All right.
go. There you go.
So yeah, like I said, I did read through this. It's the like this where he comes home, but it's not it's not the
Yeah.
creature.
Yeah,
Like
isn't that just a wild freaking like dude? It was also the story. Like I said, the story was good, but
yeah,
it
and
without
the wife,
Evan Bjelkovic, I don't think it would have worked
yeah,
without
and the
Evan
wife
Bjelkovic on
the
it.
wife's just like grateful for it.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing. Yeah, it's crazy, crazy story.
Yeah,
Um,
grateful for it because she needed to have that moment with him.
mhm,
Because honestly, not to go too deep because I know obviously I could talk about this story for hours. He need he was a coward. That
mhm,
character was a coward. He should have faced his wife because she deserved to give him a piece of her mind for what he had done.
yeah,
I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't read it. If for those who are out there watching, try to look for Human Target, written by Peter Milligan, and drawn by Evan Bilkovic, published by Vertigo Comics. It's definitely worth the read,
yeah.
especially if you are an aspiring writer or artist. Evan Bilkovic is top five for me when it comes
Nice.
to artists.
Cool, cool. Yeah, that line on that one page, the cross page, where he says, talking to God, he says, "I don't know why it's so easy to face your wrath, other than her.
Right.
Like her
Yeah.
disappointment."
Hmm.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good stuff.
Moving on to what is this four now? Kingdom
I
Come.
believe so. Kingdom Come. Yeah.
This is the one I'm most familiar with out of your choices. I remember when this came out. Yeah, Alex Ross's work really popped out
Oh
at that
yeah,
time,
for sure.
and I did read through this. But how did it affect you, and what did it do for your journey?
This was for me what it was more of like, wow, if only publishers, I don't know about now, but back then when this proved it was I you can tell a story like this where the superheroes are a little older
Mhm.
and still tell a fantastic story. And of course the mainly was because again, sequential work by Alex Ross.
Yeah,
With his painting style, it looked like like something out of a Norman Rockwell or Rockefeller. I can't
Rockwell.
remember.
Yeah,
Rockwell. It looked like a Norman Rockwell painting, and it really, even though a lot of people, I know some people complain about, oh, they look too human, they look too simple, but for me, this was like larger, still like larger than life.
yeah, no doubt.
With Alex Ross's paintings, it still felt like, yeah, like this is the good stuff right here, man. This is the kind of stuff that I recommend people who don't read comics to read it.
Yeah, yeah. This
You
is
know?
a solid introduction for someone who the panel work is still very comic booky.
Yes.
You get a lot of good splash pages. You get the panels that aren't just straight squares,
Right.
um, but also it's it's almost like movie stills,
Yes. Yeah.
and there's something plus Alex Ross, he takes a whole lot of from pop culture. There's a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
Shazam looking like the guy from Father Knows Best, whose name I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
remember right now.
Fred McCurry. Fred
Yeah, yeah,
McCurry is the actor.
and doing those sorts of things, so uh, it helps to connect those things, for a new reader. But also, it's just, um, it's beautiful. I mean, it's just
Yes.
absolutely gorgeous. What you were saying earlier, though, about uh, them being older, I never thought about that. Like this is a good kind of like the way Batman Beyond, you know,
Right.
when you watched it, or if people read the comics later, but it in the way that Dennis the Menace never grows up,
Right.
or
Yeah. Right.
or whatever, or Spider-Man,
Hmm.
now he's married and stuff, but it's, at some point there is, it's like, how do you feel about that? Like, should should we have aged up our heroes and passed them on, that kind of thing?
That's the $1 million question. Um, it's yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because we're so accustomed to having, you know, uh, creations not, where characters never age. We got The Simpsons, we got Family Guy,
Mhm.
and then of course our comic book, books. At this point, I don't think they should. I think at
Yeah.
this point they should keep things like this. Like this was a published. This was an Elseworld story, so it
Yeah.
wasn't continuity, which made it work. Um, at this point, it's kind of a little too late
Mhm.
because American companies don't like change,
Yeah.
don't like drastic change. They like to keep it the same. So for me, I think the grand opportunity is from the indie scene. So
Yeah.
indie creators need to adapt to the modern world, which is when you create a character that you want to write. I have Samuel Zion, for instance, Ghetto Dragon. As an indie creator, I'm going to age the characters.
Mhm.
I'm going to definitively end the story at some point if I have the opportunity to produce the books.
Yeah.
So we have the golden opportunity to do that. But DC, Marvel, well, just them two really, who have the largest market share in selling comics, they're stuck.
Yeah.
They can't do that. It's
Mhm.
over. They got to keep Spider-Man the same age. They
Right.
can't age him. Um, and that's unfortunate because it would be great. It would be great to have something of substance, but at this point, no, it's a little too late. Too little, too late,
Yeah.
in my
So,
opinion.
you got your absolute universe now, which
Yeah,
um, is supposed to have some sort of end date, as far as I know, right?
that's what I've been reading too. But
Given the
they
popularity,
again,
though.
they have a golden opportunity here, man. They have a
Hmm.
golden opportunity to, um, hey, maybe let's keep this going. But
Hmm.
instead of aging him greatly, let's age him a bit, little by little,
Hmm.
little by little. Like I mean, there's ways around it,
Yeah.
so once Scott Snyder and Nick DeGrota leave the project, if they ever do leave, and they get replaced by a writer and artist, it's gonna be it's gonna be DC's responsibility, the editorial or otherwise, to tell the new reader, not the reader, to tell the new writer and artist team that are gonna take over the book,
Hmm.
is okay. Look, you can't ignore what Snyder and DeGrota, the foundation they built. You can't ignore it. Okay, you can't change it. You can't retcon it. Nothing. But what we want you to do is we want you to slowly age him. So maybe instead of a year later, let's do a month later.
Yeah.
Let that whole storyline, your 12 issue, 24 issue storyline that we signed you up for, that could be a story that takes place a month later, past the events of what Snyder and DeGrota did. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
mean, and they could also shoot for, how, like, a lot of manga, like Berserk, where there is you know, um, a finality that people
Yes.
are there's a finale that people are hoping for. You
Yeah.
know, uh, you set up the hero and his struggle. You set up the villain and their background, and then separate them, but you know at some point they're gonna come back together,
Yes.
and like
Yes.
it's distant future, but it's gonna get there. So hold on for that moment,
There you
that kind of
go.
thing.
Yeah.
As
And
opposed to just here's a new bad guy and another new bad guy.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. How many times can we have Daredevil versus Bullseye?
Yeah.
How many times can we have Lex Luthor versus Superman? You know what I
Mhm,
mean? And so going back to Kingdom Come, this was influential for me because of it kind of almost like V for Vendetta. It really showed me just how far we could push the medium.
mhm,
You know, the fact that a traditional painter like Alex Ross is able to come in and do something like this, as beautiful as this,
mhm.
and elevate, because this Kingdom Come for me elevated the medium.
Yeah.
Like it elevated to a level where it's like, you know what, we could do something like this
Yeah.
and still make it great. And the story that was written and developed was very Alan Moore-esque, but what I liked about what Alex Ross and Mark Waid did here was that they didn't make it completely dark. They had a hopeful ending at
Mhm.
the end. And
Yeah.
it's like that's for me, it was like it was coming full circle with the American industry,
Yeah.
American comic book industry, which is uh yes, I guess we could do things a little dark, a little edgy, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, this is the superhero genre, and it should always end in a high note or a happy note.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You don't not everything has to be a dreadful ending.
Mhm.
Some things should deserve to be hopeful, and
Yeah. Yeah.
superhero comics should always remain hopeful, in my opinion. Always.
Yeah. 100%. Like you were saying earlier, I know there's a lot of people who don't even consider this comic art, but
Right. Right.
that Flash is one of the coolest
Yeah.
Flashes like ever. Like his Alex Ross's like ability to show him like on different planes of existence at the
Yeah.
same time. It's
Yeah.
such a cool like effect, I guess. But yeah, that this whole scene I got where um he's
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That was beautiful. Beautiful cover. Yeah, there you go. That was the poster.
yeah, nice,
That was
yeah.
the poster where I was like, what is this?
Hmm.
Oh my god. And I knew Shazam. Even though I never read the comic books, I remember there were reruns of the cartoon
Did it
series.
again.
Oh, I guess it doesn't like you.
It did it again, or
Um
it does like me too much.
um so
Go back.
yeah, so I recognized Shazam immediately and went, "Oh my god, he fought Superman! He fights Superman!" And so I was really excited about it, when I saw the poster.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta go back and go back again. This is weird. I don't know why it's doing that, but
Oh, it's glitching.
yeah. And then that whole scene, this one where he's
Oh
shouting
yeah,
Shazam,
man.
that's such a memorable moment. Like
Right.
the blood coming, out of Superman's ear and stuff. It's like, oh
Yeah,
crap,
man.
what is
Woo.
happening? And then he grabs him and turns him back. Just fantastic. I mean, storytelling though, in art, on that second page, the panels of uh, Billy Batson getting struck by lightning, the Shazam coming up and grabbing Superman's ankle and throwing him back so that he can
Yeah.
go, and like fantastic stuff, beautiful
Yeah, great
stuff.
stuff. Great stuff. The sacrifice, the self-sacrifice. And it was a great creative choice by I don't know who decided to do that, but whoever, kudos to both Alex Ross and Mark Waid for that decision because Billy Batson Shazam would do something like that. He would
Mhm.
definitely grab Superman's ankle and throw him down and go, "No, I'm doing this."
Yeah. All right, on to the final
The authority.
choice,
Whoo!
the authority.
Authority, man.
I don't know why we're not in the little corner, but no one needs to see us right now, so we'll just work with it.
Right. The authority. Um, Plain and simple, it was another example of right place, right time, and the idea of a I guess the way Warren Ellis described it was blockbuster comics,
Hmm.
large panels, wide panels, deep focus shots, and edgy superheroes who have no problem killing you and destroying stuff in the while doing it. Um, yeah, it made, for me anyway, it made the superhero genre cool again.
Nice.
Of like, yeah, we could do stuff like this. And
Hmm.
when I to this day I still believe that DC Comics blundered a potential $1 million crossover event. If they had just struck the iron while it was hot,
Hmm.
an Authority versus JLA crossover would have been money,
Hmm.
because you would have been able to play with the idea. I mean, and it was explored in Action Comics 775. What's so
Hmm.
funny about Truth, Justice, the American Way? But if they had just done an Authority versus JLA crossover during the time when Authority was like super duper white hot,
Yeah.
I'm convinced that the book would have made it easily. It would have been $1 million series
Hmm.
easily, because you could explore the themes of like, you know, uh, what
I
do you
mean,
call it? What do you call it? It's a military phrase when people get caught in the crossfire. It's a collateral damage,
collateral damage. Yeah.
and whether or not it's worth it to save the world by killing by killing 1,000 people, as opposed to saving them and saving the world at the same
Hmm.
time. That would have been great. That would have been a fantastic thing to explore if they had just done it. But the Authority itself, the series itself, I just loved how these superheroes decided, yeah, you know what, we're just gonna save the world. We're not gonna wait for permission from the government to do it.
Yeah.
And that was cool. I like that. Because that at least was interesting enough for me to explore those ideas, especially in this changing landscape. I believe it was like 2000, and then 2001, when after 9/11, that's when it was really it was again another example of right place, right time.
Yeah. Um, they touched on it. Didn't they do a Authority versus Superman where they touched on a couple of those issues of um, power and responsibility and
Yes.
those sorts of things. But um, yeah, just that actually that last panel, right? That page, that middle panel, and that second page is
Yeah.
straight out of Man of
I mean, look
Steel.
at that. Yeah, look at
you
that.
know?
Straight up, yeah, straight up. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people love Man of Steel, because of that very thing. And that's one of the reasons why I love it too. I'm a huge fan of the Man of Steel movie. I know
Hmm.
a lot of people have their problems with it, but the more at first I didn't like it. I'll admit. When I first
Hmm.
watched it, I was like, no, it's not the Superman movie that I want it to be. However, when I rewatched it over and over again, I liked it more and more because of it was like, yeah, oh, I get it now. Snyder just wanted to do an Authority,
Hmm.
but he used Superman to do it.
Hmm.
So okay, I could dig that.
Yeah,
And so
I
the idea of
recently
power. Oh, go
I
ahead.
I was just to say I recently decided to rewatch the Man of Steel Snyderverse movies because I enjoyed for the most part all of them. Man of Steel I really enjoyed when it came out and stuff, but
Hmm.
uh, on these new watch throughs, I still enjoy a lot of the themes and ideas he was like playing with and trying to dig into.
Yeah.
I will admit I like them less now because of filmmaking choices.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some stuff in it in all of them that's just like that's silly.
Yes,
That's
Zack Snyder. My opinion of Zack Snyder is that he is a fantastic, flashy visual director,
Mhm.
but when it comes to storytelling, he is abysmal. Like, he's abysmally bad. Like, he's not good at all. Because for me, stories, whether it be in movies, TV shows, or comics or novels, it's all about execution,
Mhm.
because you can have a great story idea, you can have the themes and the idea that you want to explore when you develop your story, but if you don't execute it, then you lose the audience. That's just the golden rule. You have to learn how to execute your story in order to convey the idea you want the viewers or the readers to have when they watch your movie, or to read your comic book.
Yeah.
You want to leave an impact. And I feel like yeah, Zack Snyder was more of a flashy, look what I can do kind of
Mhm.
director,
Yeah.
instead of like telling a good story. Like like a Nolan or even James Cameron can
Hmm.
can tell a good story, even though his movies aren't perfect, but the story is strong enough to make you care about the characters that are involved in his movies.
So, let's see. So it's
But
working.
yeah, Authority, like I mentioned, Action Comics 775, written by Joe Kelly. And I think there's a few artists who drew that issue. I think Lee Bermejo had a few pages drawn, and then Doug Mankey was another one. That to me was the perfect, like if the author if DC Comics and Wallstorm had just got their crap together, that story, What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, the American Way, would have been the perfect fit
Yeah.
to explore that idea of like what, like you said, what's power, what's how, what's the responsibility that comes with having the kind of power. Have you read that issue, by the way?
No.
No. It's a great issue. It's pretty much a whole thing about how this group called the Elite show up, and they're exactly like the Authority. The British leader, no, the magician, the whole deal, and they're doing what the Authority does in the books, which is saving the city but destroying the city at the same time
Yeah.
and killing people at the same time. And of course, this doesn't sit well with Superman, and he tries to first talk to him and say, "You can't come in here and just destroy things and think it's okay because you saved the day."
Hmm.
And there's a tension that gets built up, and then eventually they end up fighting on the moon, in one of the moons in Jupiter. And at first they beat up Superman pretty good, and
Hmm.
they think they kill him, and then they find out that they didn't kill him. And so Superman tells him, "Oh, I get it. I understand now. I get it now." And he starts killing them one by
Yeah.
one. But then at the end, you find out he didn't kill him. He just took him out and then
Yeah.
knocked him out. But then he tells the leader that you know just punching, killing, and then asking questions later is easy.
Yeah.
But if you really want to be a hero, you don't do any of that stuff. You do what's right.
Yeah.
And of course the leader said, "Well, we're gonna. What if we come back and they keep doing it all over again?" He goes, "Well, I'll come back and I keep doing it all over
Yeah.
again. That's it."
Hmm.
Great issue. Great issue. One of my favorites. But yeah, I recommend that issue as well.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks, Julius, for sharing your comic book high five.
Yeah, thanks for letting me
Um,
share.
let me do my little slap.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm gonna add that to the thing I send out. That if you pick comic book high five, you have to make
Yeah,
sound
you gotta,
effects.
yeah.
So let's continue on then, real quick, with what you got going on now, as you move into the future. Like you said, Ghetto Dragon didn't fund, and it was kind of a wake up call, gut punch,
Hmm.
but and it called you to reassess, the crowdfunding scene, things on X, and how things have been going, for a while, that started to kind of fall apart. And as we're seeing in this scene, what I guess you'd call it, the high point, golden age of crowdfunding
Yeah.
is past.
Yes.
People
Yes.
are, even the big names, their campaigns have dropped, quite a bit, and people are, um, kind of looking for different routes and ways to reach out, and
Hmm.
that's where you're at now. So
Yes.
what's Julius and Elucid Comics doing then?
I again, I thought I had time today, but I didn't. So the website's not live yet. I was hoping it'd be live today, but again, when it comes to the weekends, there's all sorts of stuff that you have to take care of, and it
Yeah.
took away. But I will be launching an online store, and that way, all the books that I have developed and produced over the years will be readily available for everyone and anyone going forward. I'll be slowly releasing them throughout the rest of the year. At the one I'm releasing first is my newest project called Acid 13: The Last Thanksgiving, and it's a black and white a story about a crazed prisoner who escapes captivity, and he invites himself over for Thanksgiving dinner and terrorizes a family throughout the whole dinner. And then there's a added layer to that story where you find out that the crazed prisoner is actually, something more than just a crazed maniac that's out on the prowl to murder people. And I don't want to, obviously, it's a spoiler, so I'd rather have people read the book for that. But it's a black and white 48-page one shot. It's a complete story. There's no, issue one, issue two, nothing like that. It's a one complete story. So you'll have a whole story there to read. However, the character Asset 13 is going to play a pivotal role, not just his character, but the whole thing that's involving with that character
Mm-hmm.
will come back in other books. So, um,
Um,
but
so one of the things, because I did read through it, you were kind enough to send me digital copies of that and Samuel
yes,
Zenon
Samuel Zion.
Zeon, which if, is also not on global. What's the website it's on?
Samuel Zion is not. I don't think I've released that one yet. I think I just sent you the PDF.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's not,
Okay,
it hasn't been released yet. I don't think I've released it on Global Comics. Asset 13 is on Global Comics currently. So if you want to
okay,
buy the PDF, you can get that now. But I'm talking more of the physical copy that
okay.
I'm going to be selling to people who want the physical copy of the book. Um,
But Asset 13, when I was reading through it, it took me a minute to kind of get into the flow. But when I realized that your two agents' names were Lock and Load,
yeah.
I was like, okay, this is the tone. I
Yeah.
get it now. I get it now.
Yeah. The
It's definitely, leans into that you know horror, the 80s kind of
yes.
slasher.
Yes.
There's a little camp, that's the word,
Yes.
campiness to it. So
Yes.
yeah, that was enjoyable. But uh so yeah, I read that, I enjoyed that. And honestly, the other one, Samuel Zion, I enjoyed actually more. I thought um for me, the premise, because I'll be honest, like just recently I, for whatever reason, was like, hey, I'm gonna listen to the Key of Solomon on an audiobook.
Oh, really?
So
Interesting.
so I
Wow.
started listening
Okay.
to that and some other things, and so that was, it was immediate connection there. I was like, ah, cool, cool, cool. So
Oh,
that was,
cool. Awesome.
but
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
um
that was interesting you said that, because that was the main inspiration for this book, is the idea of what the Key of Solomon was,
mhm,
and how some occult researchers believe that he was um he was able to entrap demons by drawing these alchemical circles on the
yeah,
ground or whatever. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. That's a cool image there. I
mhm,
wouldn't mind seeing that. So then I started developing this character. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to develop that character. Asset 13, uh I didn't develop that. I was hired to write that
okay,
from Chris Hicks. Chris Hicks was the one who created the story. And he hired me to help him write the script and help him clean up his outline, because he had an outline of a rough outline of what he wanted. So my job was to look through the outline and go, okay, I'll get rid of this. You could probably add to this, and so on and so forth. And once we went back and forth a few times, he greenlit the outline, and then I helped develop the backstory of Asset 13. But that's essentially his story. And I honestly, I loved it. I
mhm,
loved writing this story because it was my chance to finally write the horror genre. I never written a horror story before, ever.
mhm.
So this is my first chance to like do it, and I really had a lot of fun doing it and
Is
producing it.
So it was his kind of character that you filled out and you helped out, but it's now going to be a continuing part of, like, your, I guess, for like your universe. Oh,
Yes, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that uh, I'm gonna show as I develop hopefully, if
Mhm.
this whole comic shop works out and people start to dig the characters I introduce, to the readers, Ghetto Dragon, Vigilant Fury, and so on, then I'll be able to explore more of what who Asset 13 is and what he's all about and what they're going to use him for, like
Mhm.
the true use of that character. And I have a lot of cool ideas that I've developed, and it's ready to go. It's just again, it's just a matter of budget,
Yeah.
because I got to hire the artist to draw the book.
Mhm.
So um,
So
Samuel Zion. Go ahead, go ahead.
as of right now, uh, the books you have of, or will have
Mhm.
available when you get your website up and the store up, how many are you going to be starting with?
Four.
Four. Okay.
Four. So it'll be Reset Protocol, it'll be Vigilant Fury, Samuel Zion, and Ghetto Dragon.
Okay. And okay, so at the end of Asset 13, there's a little blurb that says,
Yes.
um, you know, wait, it?
It
But
it, it, it says
so,
read Vigilant Fury. Is that what you're talking about? The blurb?
no, no, maybe it's the back page or something, but it's something that says that everything's connected. Basically, there's going to be a connection. Um,
Oh, I think it's yeah, it's all connected. I believe
yeah,
that's
something
the
that.
phrase. Yeah, it's all
So
connected.
so then you're building some. So is Asset 13 is going to appear in Vigilant Fury, or at least have some, the something to do with it.
I'll say this. The character Angela Perret's the main character of
Mm-hmm.
Vigilant Fury, Matt Guerra, the Ghetto Dragon,
Mm-hmm.
and Acid 13 will interact
Okay, nice.
at some point in the same space. That's what I'll say about that.
So yeah, that's what I was wondering is how
and,
many.
and and Samuel Zion
Okay, yeah.
and
So
Samuel Zion. So it's a again it's shared universes. I know they're a little played out now because of the MCU and
mhm,
everything, and it's a major staple of our American comic book industry.
yeah.
Like that's just a given. Every publisher has done it. I At first I wasn't gonna do it, but
Mhm,
then I was like, no, you know what, screw that.
yeah.
I want to have some fun, and I like this. I still like the idea. It still works
Mhm,
for me. It's just that the direction I decided to go to was I'm not gonna do the superhero spandex stuff. There's
yeah.
enough of that going out there.
Yeah.
So what I'm
So
gonna
it's,
do is I decided to focus more on the edgy stuff, the vertical kind of style of like you know um, stories that kind of that take you to the edge
yeah.
of like, whoa, what the hell, what the hell is that? So because I'm going to explore all sorts of avenues
Yeah.
with the Lucid comic, and yeah, I just gotta the problem with the whole shared universe thing is that if you do it too fast or if you go too slow, then you
Mhm,
lose the audience, right? So
yeah.
I got to find the right speed to get the interest, going and to keep it going as
Yeah.
I continue producing more and more books. Because Lucy, what's the future for Lucy Comic is one shot stories. So when I have a book and it's book one, or if it's book two, so on and so forth, it's the idea is to throw seeds
Mhm,
of what's going to come after. But let's just say the audience doesn't connect to one of the stories I write, and
yeah.
it doesn't move. At least I completed a story.
Yeah.
At least I have a complete story. And there's no like, hey, is there going to be any more? Like, what's going to happen with this? With the or what about this? What about that?
Mhm,
It's more like, oh, okay, that's a cool story. But if there's enough intrigue, then I can always go back to the well. Remember, if on page 54,
yeah.
I remember this when I mentioned this. Well, it's going to play a factor in, and so on and so forth. So it's one of those things where it's a walking a tightrope
Yeah.
as a writer.
Yeah.
So it's all one shots going forward here, black and white one shots, maybe at the most 52 pages. I'm gonna try to keep it at 48 because I think
Yeah.
that's a good number. 48, little graphic novels, and yeah, black and white
Okay.
until I get enough revenue to be able to afford to do colors because I letter my own books, so I don't have to worry about hiring a letter. I could just do that myself.
Yeah, I'm all for black and white. Like I love black and white comics. And if eventually you get around to coloring them, then my black and white comic version is going to be cooler. Like, it's going to
Yeah,
be,
yeah,
you know.
exactly, dude, exactly. I love the idea of outlaw comics, outlaw
Hmm.
indie comics, and when I wrote Acid 13, it really did change. It changed the way I wanted to approach stories. I was like, I kind of dig this outlaw stuff. I kind of like it. Since you read the story, I want to ask you, what you think of the character Grams?
That is, like I said, where when I was reading it, it's like, okay, this character's over the top. But then that's at that point is when I realized, oh wait, Lock and Load are these characters' names. This is over the top. This is
Right.
what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to feel like, you know, over the top stereotypes of certain characters and those
Yes.
sorts of things. So yeah, it was yeah, um, yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. And the great thing about that was when Chris uh, told me about that character, because he like I said, he came up with the characters.
Hmm.
I was lucky enough have to write what he wanted. And what was great about working with Chris was that he gave me enough breathing room to have fun with it. He wasn't so strict where he was like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. But he was more like, his approach was like, that's interesting. Let's explore that, and
Yeah,
that's I love that. I love working with people like that
nice.
because it just makes things better, in my opinion. And since he had his vision, he knew exactly what he wanted. He kept the ship,
Yeah.
in in line. So um when he told me about Grams, uh I I was like, okay, well, who does Grams sound like to me? And I was like, my dad. My dad was like that. My dad was exactly like that. And when I wrote her, I thought, like you, like I thought, oh, maybe I did it over the top, maybe I overdid it, and maybe he's gonna tell me to kind of tone it down. But when he got, he's like, dude, I love it, I love it. She's great. Let's keep her the way she is. I was like, perfect. All right, cool. This is gonna work. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you you got a kick out of her.
If anyone's wondering, just like a if you're watching a horror movie, Grams is the sheriff, the small town sheriff. That's the kind of the tone that we're talking about. But so you website working on getting close.
Hmm.
When you get it up and running, I'll share it on X and try to see if get as much out on X as possible, whatever. But you were also talking about last night your um, Substack and working on some
Yes.
prose, I guess, stories. And also your other your novel that you've been working
Yeah.
on and those things. So talk about those as well.
Yeah. So like I mentioned last night in my live stream, I didn't want to just have Substack as to be just another newsletter, because there's a bunch of them on Substack, and there's a few writers that I follow that actually utilize their Substacks well, to build their readership. But for the most part, it's all newsletters about updates, what people are up to, and everything,
Yeah,
and that's cool. But it's kind of like, yeah, everyone's doing that, and I didn't want to do that, so I wanted to do something different and try something different. And one day at work, I was talking to a coworker of mine who came from a well-off, family, and lived in a very nice neighborhood in a very nice city. And since we're both from different worlds, and we, as it goes, right? When you talk to your coworkers, you start to know them more. You start to know who they are and where they came from and all that. And so I started. He one day asked me, "Hey man, where you from? Like, what, like, where'd you grow up at? Like, that kind of stuff." And I told him where I grew up at, and it was how poor it was and ghetto and everything. And then he just asked me, "Oh, so what was it? what was the craziest thing you ever seen? That dude, it like opened up a flood of memories, childhood memories. And I told him one story, and I just remember when I was telling him the story and I looked up at him, he had this like, you know, but he was on the edge of his seat. He was just extremely like interested, and that's when it hit me. I was like, oh, maybe that's what maybe I could do that. And so then I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna share the stories from my upbringing of in this ghetto neighborhood I grew up in, and call it Tales from the Ghetto. And it's just gonna be nothing but stories that I observed
Mhm.
myself, that I heard secondhand through friends and family, and also lore. You know, things that I heard reputed. You
Yeah.
know, like that people always talk about. Why did you hear about the guy who lived on this? You know, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be the series I'm gonna develop for bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks I'm gonna drop a new post of Tales from the Ghetto, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be wild, guys. There's a lot of stuff that when I was going down memory lane writing these stories, there's a lot of moments where I was like laughing and going, "Man, I can't believe it that happened."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
No doubt
and the
about it.
novel Secret Door is a novel that I've been working on since, gosh, that 2000, I want to say 2014 when I started
Mhm.
writing it. And it was a long process because I'm not accustomed to writing novels, even though I love novels.
Mhm.
And so I told myself, okay, you know what, I could take my time with this because it it's interesting enough for me to commit
Yeah.
to writing it and finishing it. And on top of that, since I'm pursuing comics, I don't have to worry about like hurrying up and trying to get trying to get this book published.
Mhm.
So it was a span of like all that time where I took my time developing it and writing it out. And I'm finally I'm old enough now to not care enough what people think. so so now just gonna drop it. I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm just gonna release it chapter by chapter so I can have some more time to, fix it up and clean
Yeah.
it up more, and then just see what happens, see how people react to it. And I'm really proud of this premise. And for a long time, I was back and forth as to whether or not I wanted to make it into a graphic novel.
Mhm.
And maybe one day I will, because I think it will work as a graphic novel. But I was like, no, I'm gonna try this old traditional long form,
Yeah.
novel. See if I can see if people if I'm good enough to do it. And if not, then I'll just adapt it. It's not a big deal. But the premise of that story is a mall security cop who's having lunch, and through the left periphery of his eye, he sees a massive door open from between two stores. And he's kind of like, what the hell is that? And when he checks out the door and he goes to his boss, who obviously is just as surprised as he is that there's a door there, when he checks the cameras, nothing ever opens. It's just a
Hmm.
wall. It's just an owl car. It's an owl piece. I describe it to be like an owl carved wooden piece, art piece
Mhm.
that's there, and nothing ever opens in the camera footage. And the guy's left like, what the hell? No, I saw that damn door open. There's a freaking keypad there on that freaking
Hmm.
owl. And when he takes him to the owl, the boss is like, "Where's the keypad?
Yeah.
There's no keypad here." And he sees it. He can see the keypad, but his boss can't see it. And he realizes, "Holy crap! I'm the only one who can see this thing." And then that's where the story takes off from that. And you
Nice.
find out what the so the reader will eventually find out what's behind the door and all that
Mhm.
stuff. But yeah, it's a whole story about all that stuff. So I'm really excited to share it with you guys.
So you're going to be releasing that chapter by chapter. Is that going to be? Do you have a schedule for that? And
Well,
like,
yeah, I'm planning on once a month,
okay,
chapter by chapter, because I need time.
yeah,
There's that insecurity part of me that's like, oh, I don't know if
yeah,
people if it's good enough yet, or
hmm,
the whole like, people are gonna like it, are they gonna like my writing? And so there's still that part of me that's still like, no, let me work on it a little bit more to
yeah.
clean it up, and so once a month I was like, okay, I compromise with myself once a month and we're good.
Nice. The Tales from the Ghetto, like I commented last night, because talking about different ways to reach different audiences,
Hmm.
basically,
Right.
YouTube, TikTok, or whatever. What's his name? Ray Ramos. Cryptidnals.
Yes,
And his
yes.
have you seen his TikTok
Oh
channel?
yeah, man. I love Ray.
Y-
Ray's great. He's one of my boys, you know. And
yeah.
I when he was starting, I mentioned to him, dude, you should do TikTok videos that talks
Hmm.
about cryptals
Yeah.
and lore of the cryptid, so that way you can gain, yeah, like you just mentioned, an audience that don't read comics, but they're probably into the cryptid
Hmm.
stuff. And so when you announce your comic book, you got a funnel right there. People are like, oh, I'll check this guy's stuff out.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff, you know. So it's gonna work out for him. You know, I'm
Yeah.
happy for him, and
And
I'm hoping
he's doing well. Like
he's doing very
he's
well.
gaining
Yeah.
followers. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
he's doing well. But I was wondering, would you do you think like your Tales from the Ghetto stories, you could uh, do that same sort of thing? Maybe not as
I
often.
I thought about that. Obviously, Tales from the Ghetto is to gain readers. So
Mhm.
when I get Ghetto Dragon ready, it's I could marry the two
Yeah.
and get it, combine the two and say, yeah, my Tales from the Ghetto is linked to Ghetto
Hmm.
Dragon. The stuff that happened here in real life is
Yeah.
what inspired this fictional story over here. And but since I'm not quite ready for Ghetto Dragon just yet, I'm still um um there's a few things I need to I need to get prepared for because
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence as to what kind of crowdfunding campaign I'm going to do for Ghetto Dragon because
Hmm.
I do want to do another campaign for Ghetto Dragon, but I think the mistake, which is my wife keeps reminding me, is that she says you should have crowdfunded for book two, not book one. And I was like, I think you're right. I think I should have crowdfunded for book two because the artwork for book two is phenomenal,
Hmm.
and it's not done yet. It's I think I'm done. I'm down to like the last 15 pages before book two is penciled,
Okay.
not like inked or colored,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
penciled. So she told me you should have campaigned for book two because the artwork would have helped you
Hmm.
get people to want to support it because the artwork is, and
Yeah.
she's right, it's phenomenal. It really is. Like I'm really lucky that I found the artist that I did for Ghetto
And
Dragon book two.
it's a it's a visual media. There's always
Mhm,
that
mhm.
conversation of is it story, is it the art? Yes,
Yep.
it is both, but it's the art that's going to catch someone's eye,
Yes, yes.
like you got, V for Vendetta caught your eye.
Yeah, no, you're right, dude, you're right. The art is definitely the hook and the warm when
Mhm.
you're for fishing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I get that, and I realize that, and so, again, I'm still working some things out because I wanna make sure that the artist is still gonna be committed to it.
Mhm.
And once I get his commitment, I might pull the trigger. But until that day comes, I'm gonna hold off and maybe focus on book one on the store in the
Yeah.
online shop, and get people interested, hopefully interested in that when I
Yeah.
release it.
um, uh, I mentioned in the chat, yeah, last night, seems like there's quite a few people who are building their own website, and like,
Mhm.
that it's everyone's trying to, think of that new way, but like, um, what will people be able to do on your website once you get it up? Like, uh, buying comics, obviously, but
Yeah, yeah, that's mainly what it's for. It's very simple, straightforward. You just buy a comic, the comics that I have available when they
Mhm.
become available, and Acid 13 will be the first one that will be available for people to purchase. Um, and that's pretty much it, man. Like, I'm gonna try to um use my Substack email list. So if and offer
Oh,
discount
cool.
coupons, promo
Mhm.
codes. Like if you sign up to my Substack, you get a promo code for, for a X amount of percentage discount
Mhm.
to if you want to buy a copy of Acid 13. And of course, in the future, my other books that are available. And that's all I could really offer right now,
Yeah.
because I would love to do more,
Yeah.
obviously. It's just that my resources are limited. I'm a one man team. I don't have a team of people working with me to get this off the ground. It's all me.
Yeah.
And so the best thing I can do for the moment is offer discount codes to people who are kind of like, I don't know if I want to take a risk buying this guy's book. But if you hear, wait, I could get 15% off. Okay, I'll I'll buy one. 50% off discount. Cool. If I just sign up
Yeah.
to your Substack, free Substack, okay. And then hopefully that'll get enough readers to be like, hey, you know what? I kind of like this guy's stuff.
Yeah.
I want to keep supporting this guy. And that's the goal, is to grow it little by little, grassroots level, and then hopefully if I get enough, then I could do the color stuff. Then I could hire more artists. Then I could hire artists who I really want to work with and provide great looking covers like V
Yeah.
for Vendetta,
Yeah.
and get people to be like, whoa, what is this? Because that's all the visions are in my head, but if you don't have the right artist working for you, or with you, I should say, not for you, then it won't matter, because readers, like you say, readers are very visual. They like to see, they like things that pop.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them, because that's why I keep reading comic books. If a cover doesn't pop, I'm not picking up the book
Yeah.
unless it's
You're,
recommended to me.
or you're already kind of familiar with it.
Yeah, or like, oh, I kind of like this artist. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick up this book, or I kind of like this writer. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna check it out. But if it's a new writer or artist and the cover doesn't pop, then forget about it.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up.
So if anyone's watching now or in the future, I do have links to Julius's Substack, and I think I put one
Thank you.
more link for, maybe it was your link tree.
Yes, my link tree. If you want to share my any links, the link tree is probably the best one, because it has all the stuff. It has my YouTube channel on there, my Global Comics, my Substack, and all my other social media. So yeah, my tree link is the best thing to share for sure.
I know I put two links in there, just not 100%. I know Substack was one. The second one,
Yeah.
not 100% sure what it was, but it's maybe it was Global Comics. But anyways, so yeah, go check those out. Uh, Make sure you're one more real quick question about
Hmm.
your future. Let's talk about it.
Hmm.
Um, is it going to change your schedule and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it is. It might go to bi-weekly instead of
Okay.
weekly, because there was a lot of burnout at the
Yeah.
end of that year, last year when Kyle and I were doing it for a while. And I realized, okay, well, I don't want burnout anymore.
Hmm.
So maybe live stream once every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and still keep the same schedule on Fridays, because that's the only time Kyle can do it.
Yeah.
But I will personally start making more videos
Hmm.
that I might record during the weekends, and then slowly edit them throughout the week, and then slowly releasing them.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely will be live streaming more as well. So last night was a trial run for me, because I had never live streamed. I might have live streamed alone before, but I always felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And last night was like, okay, I got to get over it. I got to get used to live streaming by myself, talk to you, not to you, but to the people who
Hmm.
are watching,
Yeah.
and get used to it. Get used to it, and uh yeah, and just start
That's
live streaming more, and shill my stuff, sell my stuff.
yeah. It's one of the reasons I started streaming is like you mentioned earlier, like I was a shy kid, like introvert
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
extreme, and so this
Same here, dude. Same here.
this is a way to kind of help me. Um, I realize, okay, you go to a store and you walk up to the counter and you say hi, and the person behind the counter says hi, and then they ask you an unexpected question. Like, what are you? Do you have any plans for the weekend? I was not prepared for this, and this is a way for me to kind of help me to process while I'm in the middle of a conversation, to ask questions and to be able
Right.
to respond and that sort of thing. So yeah, I get it. I get it. Learning how to do it
No,
on your own.
for sure, dude, for sure. And I know what the
Oh.
get the the
Oh.
the are we good?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Well, we glitched there for a minute there. And it's gonna be a tough process for me, but I know the more I do it, it'll get easier. The more I do
Mhm.
it, and the live streams will probably happen on the weekend. And the idea is to utilize my paid Substack,
Yeah.
called Lucid Lounge. And the idea I have for the Lucid Lounge is live streaming, and then just kind of hanging out and talking about whatever anyone wants to talk about.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because the one thing I do enjoy is talking to people. And one of the things, one of my, I guess, strong points that I discovered while I was in college was that I discovered I was a very good listener.
Mhm.
I discovered that I could talk to just about anybody, not talk wise me. I'm talking about just talk, I start the conversation and then just let the person go, and I just stay quiet and just listen.
Yeah.
And I discovered I was really good at that. And there were a few times in college where I was able to convince people to change their minds simply by listening to them
Mhm.
and going and then asking questions, not attacking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. You believe that? Why would you believe that? And then they would just keep going, right?
Mhm.
I remember one time I spoke to one guy who he was pretty hardcore, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Um, he he said that he told me one time that that he believes that that people who have HIV should be uh incinerated. That was like, if I had it my way, I would just that's what I would do. And of course, no judgment, no like what the more like that's interesting. Why would you what's the reasoning for that? And he kept talking,
Mhm.
and the more he talked, I could see in his face that what he was saying was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then like and then after a while when I just kept, just like interesting, okay. And then he just like he stopped himself. He's like, that's pretty ridiculous, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, it kind of is. and then and then he was like, yeah, wow, okay, dang. And then again, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm not, I could do this. And I
Yeah.
thought about joining politics because of it. But then when I did dip my toes in that world, I realized just how toxic it was, and went,
Yeah.
nah, I'm not gonna be part of this. Hell no. And so I pulled back from that. And so now that
Same.
I was thinking about my Substack, my paid Substack, I was like, maybe I could just do that there. $5 a month, come in, hang out with me. We could talk about whatever, comics,
Yeah.
movies, TV shows, um, politics,
Yeah.
philosophy, anything that anyone who wants to join and talk about.
Mhm.
I'll just sit there and be like, oh, that's interesting. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that. Let's explore that.
Mhm.
Because I think at this point in our history, we need more of that. And we
Yeah.
don't. When the more we start to close it off from each other, the easier it is to dehumanize each other.
Mhm. That's kind
And
of the reason I chose because everyone likes movies, music, comics, particularly within
yes,
this little
right.
sphere. But like for the music, for instance, um, you hear someone and they're like, "Oh, I love this song," and in your mind, you're like, "Why would you like
Yeah.
this song?" This song is, but to be
This
able
song is
to,
stupid. Yeah.
yeah, but and a lot of times it is just like, oh, it's because it's fun, it's a fun, I like the beat or whatever. It's like, okay,
Yeah. Right.
but
Right.
sometimes it actually there's a reason behind it,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of what I'm kind of shooting for too. Is um, I mention it, I think fairly often on the show, is that the social part of social media is something that we were promised, that
Yeah.
these things would bring us all together, and it's
And
kind of
nah, it separated us a lot
yeah,
more
and
than it did
and
unite us for sure.
yeah, and so I like that concept, and if I can you know lend a hand in that somehow, even if it's just in this little indie comic scene,
Hmm.
then that's great. I'll do that. But also, if anything, nothing comes up out of it but me meeting some cool people, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly. Exactly. And that was the same goal for me too. I wanted to create a community where, um, I guess, for lack of a better term, and a real safe space.
mhm,
Where people can come in and talk crap if they want, and as long as they don't cross a certain line.
yeah.
But my line is pretty far. It's not that easy to cross my line. I think the line is pretty much don't threaten people with violence, and that's
Mhm,
my line. But if you want to talk smack and say names to me, that's
yeah.
fine. I've done it face to face, so I could deal with it from a stranger
Yeah.
from the internet. And yeah, that's the my biggest thing. The biggest thing I hate about social media is the fact of that
Mhm.
very idea of like, you like that? That's stupid. And in reality, it's like, well, no, no, it isn't. That
Mhm.
person likes it. You may not like it, and that's okay. You don't have to like it. It's kind of like the ice cream analogy that's used, right? You like chocolate chip, I like vanilla, but we're both having ice cream.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I like vanilla,
Mhm.
you like chocolate chip, but we both have ice cream, so it's great. It's good. It works
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, and
So
you have to be really like antagonistic to look at someone and go, "You like chocolate chip?
yeah.
What? What's up with that?" You know, like
Yeah, right.
you at that point you're just looking for a fight. You know, that's
Yeah,
not
at that
that's
point, no, well, at that point for me, you're just like, no, you need to work on your social skills,
yeah. Yeah.
because yeah, I don't want you around me, because I'm at the age now where I'm like, no, you can't be in my circle. You need to
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, you need to get the hell
Yeah.
out of here. So,
So, all right. So, is there anything else you wanted to cover, get clear up, or let
um,
people know about?
uh, hmm, keep reading comic books.
Yeah.
Keep reading comic books, keep watching movies, and yeah, speak your minds on things that you don't like, and that's okay too. But don't insult someone for liking something that you don't like we just discussed. Um, I love Howard the Duck, and I know that movie's crap. Like I know that movie's crap. I watch it and I go, man, this is such a stupid movie, but I love it. I love it so much, because
Mhm.
it's one of those nostalgic things for me, and I'm at the point in my life where I can recognize when something is dumb. But
Yeah.
if I like it, hey, I like it. And if you're looking for something new, for something fresh and edgy, check out Lucid Comic. I will be announcing, when the shop is live, I will be pushing out a lot more social media posts going forward, Substack, otherwise, Facebook and TikTok and what have you.
Mhm.
And I'm really going to push myself to grow this year. And thankfully, by the grace of God, I'm able to have 5 books ready to sell. And the fact that I was sitting on these books, shame on me for not thinking of this sooner, because I should
Yeah.
have done this the moment I had a completed book.
Mhm.
To crowdfund it, right? Produce it, fulfill it, and once I fulfilled it, sell it in the aftermarket.
Yeah.
And now I have a book. And then repeat. And
Mhm.
that was the mistake I made. I didn't do that, but the reason why I didn't do that is because, like I mentioned, time.
Yeah. What's your price point going to be for these books then on your website?
So Asset 13 will be 15,
Okay.
because with the 14-page preview for Samuel Zion, that's a total of 68 pages, I believe. So it's gonna be 15. But then once um that inventory or that print run runs out, because I'm gonna have an inventory, and then once it runs out, and then I'm gonna revert it back to the 48 page, and the price will go down after that,
Nice. Okay.
because they won't have the 14-page preview anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to go down. It's not going to go down drastically. It's going to go down, like to like $12.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm. Yeah. But still less than a crowdfunded price.
Yes, because
See,
that's ridiculous for the
that's
most
what.
part.
Well, here's the thing is one of the things that when I first heard about crowdfunding,
Hmm.
a Kickstarter or Indiegogo are both
Hmm.
used for kickstarting or what's it called, funding people's projects, whether it's
Yes.
like my new cheese grater or whatever it is,
Right. Yeah. Right.
and what I know of that, you watch Shark Tank, we're giving you money
Yes.
so
Right.
that you can produce something and then sell it to the masses. That to me is how it's supposed to work. I give you 25, 30,
Right.
40 bucks, whatever it is. Yes, I get the comic, maybe some stickers and stuff, but I'm not I'm investing in you producing something so that you can sell it to the masses at a
Yeah.
much cheaper price,
Right.
but you're still making money because now you're selling it to more people.
Yeah.
And then you can produce more comics, which means I get more comics
Right.
from you,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that's you know, I
Ideally, that should have been the case,
mhm,
but again, it was so new
yeah,
that most people, especially the ex pros who jumped ship to that world, didn't realize that, oh, there's a business behind this thing.
mhm,
Because a lot of the pros that moved over were not indie creators. They were work for hire artists.
yeah,
They relied on just meeting the deadline and then getting paid, and that's it. They move on to the next project. They didn't realize that there's a whole like system, a logistic system behind publishing. You
yeah,
gotta get the printer ready. You gotta make the files ready. You gotta market. You gotta promote. And so I think what happened was just that model. They didn't understand what they had. No one, for the most part, no one did. Everyone just saw, wow, this guy raised 40K. I gotta get in on this.
yeah,
And then when it was over and they collected the money and they went, wait a minute, oh crap, I didn't realize about printing costs. I didn't realize
mhm,
about shipping costs. I didn't realize about this and that. And then they disappeared
yeah,
because they freaked out. So that might, and then on top of that, what I'm gonna do is which I've already done is that those who do crowdfund my projects, they'll always get like uh, good deals from me
mhm,
just for supporting me.
yeah,
So they'll get free, maybe a free PDF of my next project. Maybe a discount, a nice
mhm,
discount for my next project. That kind of thing. And then also for crowdfunding for me personally as well, when I do crowdfund, I'm gonna offer something worthwhile for the price. So like if
yeah,
I'm offering, if I'm offering like $60, a $60 tier for the
mhm.
campaign, then I'm gonna make sure that the book is like a chromium, cover with like high gloss paper, extra goodie, that kind of stuff.
It's
That's
gonna
the
it's
stuff that you want to offer
it's
to
gonna
for
talk
people
you
to
like a
pay.
Harry Potter book. That's what's gonna.
Something worthwhile, something
Yeah,
worthwhile where people are gonna, and then also exclusive. It
yeah,
needs to be exclusive. If
mhm,
you don't back it, you're not gonna get this book.
yeah,
Never. It's only gonna
yeah,
be exclusive for the person who decides to back this campaign. And
yeah,
I think that's the key right there for future indie creators to like make sure to keep that in mind. When you offer tiers, make sure it's special
mhm,
and make sure it's exclusive. Because if you want to justify the $60 price point for that tier or whatever, then you got to sell the selling point should be it's only going to be available for the people who back it. After this campaign is over, this version will not exist.
mhm, yeah,
And that's what going to get people like, oh, I have to get a copy. So it's
yeah,
it's one of those things.
yeah. Yeah, I want to be the guy who's wearing the band T-shirt from before the band was popular.
Yes,
That's what I want from
yes,
this situation.
yes, yes. Yeah, that's the right way to look at it. That's the perfect way to look at it, and that's the way it should be for
Yeah.
sure.
So,
And some
so
some people have done it. I've seen a lot of campaigns in Kickstarter where the person who has like they have 11 campaigns, dude, that
mhm,
they've fulfilled. And I look at their tiers, I'm like, this guy's doing it right.
yeah,
He's doing it exactly the way it's supposed to be. And those guys are the ones who have the long careers,
mhm,
crowdfunding.
yeah,
So it can
yep.
happen. You just gotta do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, everyone, I think we're going to start wrapping it up. It's getting late, even for us
Yeah.
over here in the West part of the country. So, I want to, again, I got some links in the description of the video. Check out Julius's stuff. Find him on X, find me on X. And, um, stick around next week. I am talking to, if I remember correctly, Von Coleman.
Oh, cool. All right, right on.
Pretty sure, and he's going to be sending me his movie choices. He went with movies.
Ah,
Hopefully,
nice.
hopefully, he gets them to me quick because I need time to watch
Right, yeah.
and then gather images. But anyways, so yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Julius, thanks again for showing
Thanks
up.
for having me. I appreciate it.
And we will catch y'all next time. And